everybody, it's Lucky Jack 20. Today I'm doing something a little bit differently than usual because now that we've now left behind the Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time Let's Play, I am going to now be moving on to the Let's Play everyone's been wanting me to do for a while. Finally, Kingdom Hearts 2. Now, if you're watching this, then this is obviously going to break the big surprise I was trying to do, but the problem is, if I'm going to do Kingdom Hearts 2, there's some things I need to wrap up first. First thing. Chain of Memories, as a lot of people know, is the game that came between Kingdom Hearts 1 and Kingdom Hearts 2. I do not own Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories for the PS2. A lot of people have been wanting me to buy it, but sadly I have to say this. I've already played through it one time, and I think playing through it one time on the Game Boy Advance is good enough for me. I don't want to just buy it again for pretty much the exact same story and exact same characters. It would just be a different experience because, if I'm correct, Chain of Memories took everything that the first Chain of Memories was about and just upgraded for PS2 graphics. So, congratulations to them on that. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to summarize up everything that happens in Chain of Memories so that some of you who may be a little bit lost if I was to not do this in Kingdom Hearts 2 won't be. So, spoilers are definitely going to happen here. So let that just be a warning. There's going to be spoilers of a lot of stuff in this game, which may tie into some things that'll happen in the second game. But now I also have to mention that my friend Jordan, he told me, what he says is, you don't really need to play or know a lot about Chain of Memories to understand what happens in Kingdom Hearts 2. Sure, let's unplug some of this. Sure, a lot of it will be a little bit confusing and be like, okay, who the heck are these new people? But according to Jordan, then you can just kind of pick it up as you go along, and you'll be able to say, okay, I'll just go along with it, and it'll probably explain itself later. Which, to an extent, it does. But I just know there's going to be some people who are going to be saying, oh man, what the heck is going on? You should have explained this. So that's why I'm doing this video here. Do not continue watching unless you absolutely want to know everything that goes on in the Game Boy Advance and technically PS2 copies of Chain of Memories. This is including both the normal and Rebirth. I'll get into what that is after a little bit. So, let's get started. Spoiler, here we go. At the end of Kingdom Hearts 1, we saw Sora, Donald, and Goofy chasing after Pluto because he had a message from the king. Or maybe it was just some other letter that had his king's insignia, but it's just too much of a coincidence to just be that, now wouldn't it? So, they're running and they're chasing him down the big old long winding path, which is what the first game ended us on. Nice little ending and then kind of cliffhanger. So, when you turn on the Game Boy Advance version or the PS2 version, because they probably have the same cutscene, it's now late at night, and Sora and Donald and Goofy probably been chasing Pluto for hours, and this is the part where I get a little confused. How did they lose him? Pluto is nowhere to be seen, so they apparently lost sight of him, even though this path was supposed to be pretty much flat lands, and I don't even know how you're supposed to, how you lose, you're following and chasing him, and you lost him. You let him get away. Anyway. So, Sora, I believe at this point I remember from the cutscene, Donald and Goofy were just kind of taking a nap in the grass while Sora's out just trying to figure out where the heck Pluto went, when all of a sudden a mysterious man in a black cloak approaches him from the path. And I think he does some mocking, a little bit of threatening here and there. The type of thing that most mysterious people try and do to other people just to egg them on, and so we can actually create some more backstory for other things. Sora, of course, takes the bait, and he continues down the path, and he comes across Oblivion Castle. Or Castle Oblivion. I cannot believe I just screwed that up. Oh, it's going to be smooth sailing from here on out, isn't it? Castle Oblivion is its name. We find that out later. Really weird looking castle. It's like one of those Chuck E. Cheese play places, but you just put Gothic architecture on the outside, and there you go! So, when they enter the castle, they try to engage the figure because he starts threatening him and about to try and, I guess, egg him on once again, attacking. This time Donald goes for the bait because I guess Sora woke him up. He wanted to be nice. He wanted to include everyone. This time Donald goes for the bait and decides to cast some magic like thunder, fire. Nothing's happening. They all Sora and Goofy just turn to Donald like, okay, let's not embarrass ourselves now. Donald, you know how to do this. And no matter how hard they try, all of their abilities are completely forgotten, most likely to give us all a reason to learn them all again in the next game. Wink, wink. So, it apparently seems that the minute they enter the castle, they've forgotten all of their abilities from the first game, except for, you know, simple brain functions. Walking, jumping, etc., etc. Then, the man, this weird cloaked figure, creates a deck of cards out of Sora's and his friend's memories, and then he tells them that everything that they're going to encounter in this castle is going to be based upon their memories. That is where the whole chain of memories goes. Whoop-de-doo. The only problem is, we then learn later, the higher they climb up into this castle, the more their own memories are going to lose in the process. So they're going to relive things, but they're also just going to forget everything. So, of course, they go for it. He takes them into Traverse Town, which we all think is Traverse Town, but no, it's actually Sora's Memory Traverse Town. Then it gets kind of funny, because then I'm realizing, if you look at the levels, and I could probably put some pictures up, if you look at some of these levels, they don't look anything like what Traverse Town looked at all. Maybe the art style's the same, but it did not look anything like this. So, two possible theories here. Either Sora, A, has the worst memory out of everyone, and he only remembered the worlds as little blocky little mazes, which, oh my goodness, I feel sad for him now. Or B, he stayed up late last night like a lot of other people playing Minecraft. Never tried Minecraft, probably gonna have to try that one day. But it looks a lot like that. And the little thing they tried adding into this game, I'm not going to talk a lot about combat and all that, I'm just going to stick to the story. I'll probably do a whole review of this later, but the thing they did in this game was card battles. You use your cards to attack. And I could do a whole review of this game, but I'm going to do that later. Sticking to the plot. Essentially, I don't need to do a lot of the plot at this point, because essentially Sora's now climbing up through all the floors, and at each floor he gets to basically relive through one of the worlds that we went through in the first game. Except for Monstro. Actually, no, Monstro isn't, I think. Yeah, I think Monstro is. Oh my gosh. Except for the end of the world, the final world, and the Tarzan world. Why the Tarzan world was omitted from this little game, I don't know. I particularly like that world. It wasn't that bad of a world. Heck, Monstro, I would accept Monstro being left out, because that wasn't even technically a world. That was just a little side world to get us warmed up for other ones. Anyway. Now, he is unaware of this, but while Sora and Donald and Goofy are climbing up these floors, they are being watched and monitored by an evil organization. They call themselves the Organization, but we learn later that they're known as Organization 13. Spoilers, spoilers. Continuing. Marluxia, we learn his name is, the lord of this castle, we learn that he was later the hooded figure who actually brought them there, is planning to control Sora with these strange powers of, we see later in some cutscenes, a girl dressed in a white, what literally appears to be a white, what's it called? Sleep garment? Like, it's like one of those type of little robe-like things you wear, or like night dresses, like a night dress. A girl in the white night dress known as Naminé. And apparently she has these memory-altering powers, and you'll also learn later she likes to draw. She likes to draw a lot. Little crayons, little color pencils, little things like that. Marluxia apparently is not he's not the highest up position in the organization, though. He wants to take control of Sora and use both him and the memory-altering powers of Naminé to overthrow everyone else in the organization. So, evil guy. However, while he's plotting on his own, some of the other members known as Zexion and Lexaeus, if you haven't noticed, they all have an X in their names. Hard to pronounce them all. Anyway, Zexion and Lexaeus, they catch wind of the plot, and they observe it, while the member of their own circle, Vexen, who's like their own little... he's like their own little leader, Vexen, also a little crazy, he decides to create a replica of Riku. It makes it look like the dark version that we saw in Hollow Bastion, and he decides he wants to use it to eliminate Sora before we can get to the top and before Marluxia can do his whole plan. While he also, Lexaeus, sends him up and down to try and sabotage Marluxia's plan, agreeing that they'll have the replica's memory reworked by Naminé so that the replica will think it's the real Riku. So, At one point then, except however, there are also other people who are working with Marluxia's plan. It's not just Marluxia on his own. This is getting hard to pronounce. While Sora extends the castle, he meets the knife-wielding girl Larxene. And a cool little thing about the organization members, they all have an element, pretty much, or they all have their own particular weapon. Like Larxene uses thunder and knives, and she's a co-conspirator in Marluxia's plot. But he ends up killing Larxene. Sora kills someone. Oh my goodness. When did this game get the gall to start being bad? Still trying to make this PG-13. However, now, the memory-altering power is already starting to work on Sora, so now he's starting to believe that Naminé was an old friend of his. And he learns that she's being held in the castle, so thinking that she's a friend of his, he goes up to try and save her, while also clashing with the Riku replica in between floors. Please note, this plot is not at all happening in the Disney worlds. The Disney worlds, everything just happens pretty much like it did in the first game. This is all the plot that's happening in between the floors, so these are like the little breaks you get. So, after witnessing the death of both Vexen and Larxene, Vexen was the ice kind of guy. We learned that he's like an ice guy, uses a shield. No idea how he uses that shield to fight very well, but we kill him anyway. We then learn that our memories are actually being shifted. And we learn that Marluxia is the one behind it. However, we then meet a very important fellow. One that is a big spoiler for the next game. His name is Axel. Red spiky hair, fire, and I have no idea what to call those weird little spinny blade things he uses. They look like little Beyblades without the actual top off. Anyway, he is another one of the organization members who's actually being used as a double agent, so that he makes it think he's working for Marluxia, but he's actually going to thwart Marluxia's plans. So, Sora decides to, at one point, form an alliance with the Riku replica once he's defeated him and told him, hey, you're not Riku, okay? Get over it. So they decide to then work together to get to the top of the castle to confront Marluxia. Naminé, after they beat Marluxia and destroy him, Naminé then agrees and apologizes profusely for everything that just happened, and she says, alright Sora, I'm going to put you in these little pod-like machines, and we're just going to leave you there. It shouldn't take too long, but I'm going to try and quit your memories right back to where they were. Also let it be known, it's going to take a little while, try about a year. However, the only little problem is, if they get all their memories back from the first Kingdom Hearts game, they're going to lose all their memories that they had fighting the organization members, all of that, from how long they stayed in Castle Oblivion. Once again, helping ease the confusion in the second game. And Sora's a little bit distraught, trying to think, okay, how am I going to be able to thank you if I don't even remember that you saved me? And so Jiminy then says, I have an idea, because Jiminy hasn't done anything in this entire game, pretty much, I've said in this summary. We'll write this one line, thank Naminé, as a reminder to us. And so they go into the pod, they closes up, and they stay there for about a year until what's about to happen that you're about to see in Kingdom Hearts 2. That is the story of Sora's side of Chain of Memories. Now, to try and make this not go too long, I'm going to quickly talk about the reverse Rebirth mode. If you beat the whole story as Sora, you unlock a different game called Reverse Rebirth, which is actually the story of Riku. Riku. When we last saw him, he was being shut up in the door to darkness, even though it looked like the door to light at one point, and then it became the door to darkness again, and then he got shut up with King Mickey. And apparently, while we were climbing up Castle Oblivion around the exact same time, Riku appeared in the very, very, very lowest basements of the castle, and now he's trying to work his way back up so he can at least go out the main entrance and leave. And all the while, he's trying to fight his own little inner darkness of Ansem that lived on with him. Because apparently Ansem's not completely dead, because remember, he possessed Riku, and so there's a little bit of him that's still left in it. And at one point, you actually meet Vexen, because this is before Sora killed Vexen. We see how Vexen got Riku's data to create the replica. You fight him, and then he takes it and runs away. And pretty much, and actually the little interesting is, at almost every single time that the Dark Ansem, the one we saw from Kingdom Hearts 1, every time he comes and tries to take over Riku again, King Mickey is with him, and King Mickey's always helping Riku out. They grow a little buddy bond. Also, at one point, Riku then battles and he defeats Lexaeus, so now that is Lexaeus, Vexen, Larxene, Marluxia. There's someone else I'm thinking of. I think Zexion, and that's about. I'm trying to count how many. I'll tell you the body count at the end of this. So, when he is saved by King Mickey all these different times, he wants to also get rid of Marluxia. And the problem is, Zexion himself realizes, okay, this Riku is not going to help us kill Marluxia because Riku actually just wants to get out. So Zexion attempts to get rid of Riku by tricking him in the Destiny Islands themed world disguised as Sora. However, he's thwarted by Naminé, so now Naminé saved both Riku and Sora, and Riku defeats Zexion. So now that is, I'm going to count this now, Marluxia, Larxene, Vexen, Lexaeus, and Zexion, I believe, who are all dead. That still leaves 13 members. That still leaves about 8 members left alive. And if I'm not correct, then I'll probably put it somewhere in this video. Then Riku meets a new character known as Diz, who, I don't know what it is, but he wears all these weird bandages and he's in a red robe and everything like that. And Riku then learns that what remains of Ansem is still in his heart, so then he decides to ask Diz, pull Ansem from my heart, I'll take him out, he'll be done, and he'll be dead forever. And so, after defeating Ansem, they finally leave the castle, and Riku vows to use both his dark and his light powers to protect pretty much all the good stuff, finally. So now he's using the dark for goodness. And King Mickey says, you know what, I never knew that dark could be used for good. I shall journey you to see how it can be done. And so last we see them, Riku and King Mickey are walking off down what they call the Path of Twilight. Hopefully never to come across those books, otherwise they will immediately wish they hadn't. Sorry to all those who liked it, I just can't quite understand them. So there you have it. That was a really, really, really dumb summary of Chain of Memories, both sides of the story. Really abridged, oh my gosh, trying to explain what is happening and hopefully remove any confusion that will be given in the next game. I'm going to do a Let's Play of that game. I'm going to Let's Play it as if you guys have watched this. I'm going to say it as if you guys have actually listened to what I was saying here today. So I hope you all paid attention, or if you all just looked on Wikipedia and do it yourself. So there you go. The summary of Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Next time you see me, I'm probably actually going to be doing the freaking Let's Play I've been trying to put off for so long. Thank you.